Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you all tuning in. My name is Brian. I am a photographer based in the Portland, Oregon area. I primarily shoot the Leica M and LeicaQ system, mostly do landscape, lifestyle, and street photography. Today we're going to be talking about the two lenses that I use on the M system. Only got two. They're a little redundant, but I'll go into why. Kind of compare and contrast the two. It's a pretty specific to how I shoot and how I view things, when looking through a lens, but figured it might be helpful to talk about it. So the two lenses I have are the Leica Summicron in a 35mm f2, a spherical. It's the version 2 of that lens. The other one is the 35 2.4 spherical Summarit. So I'm just shooting two 35s side by side, both the spherical, pretty much the newest designs in those lens lines, and one at f2 and the other is at 2.4. So pretty redundant, but essentially I just love the 35mm focal length. It is my favorite focal length. After shooting for 5 years now, I've landed that as kind of the happy spot, right? That's just the happy place with lenses for me. I just love 35. I had the 35 1.4 G Master on Sony, and I just shot that thing for like 12 months straight. Like, it didn't come off the camera. So I've very confidently landed at 35mm being my preferred focal length for everything. I shoot landscape, lifestyle, product, street, even portraits. Yeah, literally anything on a 35 I think I can just do, and it's kind of how I view the world. It's like a sweet spot between a wide lens and a little bit more of a tighter lens. So I think you have the width when you need it, but you can also kind of get that range when you need it, either by cropping or by like moving a little closer to your subject. The way I run these lenses is pretty straightforward. My 35 Summicron is glued to my M240, and my 35 Summarit is glued to my M6, and I take those cameras out side by side in a little sling bag. And reason for this is I just really wanted my film work and my digital work to be completely cohesive. I was shooting the Q next to either of my two rangefinders and sharing my Summicron, but when the Q went down for repair, I picked up another lens and I got that 35 Summarit, and just really liked shooting both cameras with almost the same lens, really, in all honesty. And I think it just keeps my work really cohesive, because the way that I frame and compose and use depth is pretty much identical now, and so my film and my digital really just flows and ebbs together and really matches up, right? And you can just tell that everything's being done in a way that is tied into my style. Those two bodies of work on two different mediums are just completely dialed in, and it would be cool to have some variety, right? But again, just loving 35 and seeing things that way, I think it makes more sense for me to just shoot two 35s side by side. And I'm just not really a 50mm guy, and after you go 50mm, like longer than 50 mil, that kind of becomes a niche, right? So I don't really see myself having to go that direction. And then going a wider than 35, I do have a Q for that, in all honesty. I don't think I really care about a rangefinder having that width. I have my Q to grab if I want that, and 35 has pretty much been wide enough for almost anything. I can only think of like one or two waterfalls around here, maybe three, where 35 is a little bit of a squeeze and you would want something wider, but they're not really spots that I frequent. In terms of comparing the two lenses, I think they're both really good performers. The Summicron obviously will go wider than the Summarit, right, being at f2. I run it on my digital camera because I think wide open on film isn't something I can do all the time, depending on daylight or lighting, and having 1/1000th of a shutter speed. But on the 240 I can pretty much always shoot wide open whenever I want. Comparing the two lenses with the build quality, they're definitely different. The Summicron feels a lot more premium and well made. It feels heavier. It just feels tighter in a sense. It takes more resistance to focus the lens, to move it, if that makes sense, and it feels really nice and like dampened. And the aperture ring is really nice and clicky and doesn't have any play or wiggle or anything. And then the lens itself is heavier, which just for some reason I think myself and a lot of others agree that a weightier, beefier lens feels more premium. And the Summarit, feels really good as well. It's lighter, so again, it just for some reason, for my mindset, it just feels cheaper because of that. The aperture ring has clicks that are less defined than my Summicron, which feels just kind of looser and sloppier. Not bad by any means. It doesn't feel as refined. The aperture ring does have a little bit of up and down play, like the length of the barrel, right? And my Q does that. My Summicron doesn't, and I've kind of read mixed things about it. Doesn't feel bad, doesn't really move around on its own. It's just if I were to grab it and wiggle it, I can. The focus is much easier to move, so it is not you know, it's not as dampened and there's not as much resistance, but it still focuses fine. Both lenses are great wide open. They focus perfect at any distance wide open, but I think there's just something to the Summicron feeling better with kind of a tighter lens barrel, whereas the Summarit is really easy to move around. And sometimes when I'm picking up the camera, that focus tab on the lens will catch my finger and will extend or compress the barrel as I'm kind of just handling the camera. Same thing with the aperture ring. Sometimes when I pull it out of the bag, it'll kind of catch my finger or the side of like the padding in the bag, and it'll rotate that. But that one's kind of a blessing in disguise, because my Summicron, I don't really move it with one finger like on the lens, like when I'm composing, because the clicks are more defined, so I always take it away from my eye and then set it where I need it. But with the Summarit on the M6, I can actually have my middle finger on the focus tab and focus, and then my other finger on the aperture ring, and I can move it where I need it really easily, whereas I feel like I have to crank a little too hard on my my Summicron to do that. So I do really enjoy the looser aperture ring for that reason. It's actually really handy. But other than that, you know, I mean, they're both really good lenses. Optically, they're both great performers. I don't really think I see a clear difference, other than one can go to f2, the other's limited to 2.4. The hood styles are different. I do like how they both thread on to the barrel, though. It's a really nice, secure fit. And I do like how they're both different. So even though I'm shooting 235s, pretty darn close to, you know, f2, pretty similar specs, right? The hoods are different, which gives a different look and a different feel. And I like the Q style hood on the Summarit a lot. It just, I think it's a really nice, clean look. It kind of looks like the hood on the 35 Apo, which is like a $8,000 lens or something ridiculous like that. I think that's all there really is to say about them. If you're looking at either of those two lenses, I highly recommend either one. If you have questions or concerns, let me know. I'm always happy to answer whatever questions I can. Shot these side by side pretty extensively at this point. I haven't seen anything negative. I don't see any focus shift or anything weird. They're always tack sharp, wide open. Both are great performers, and I think at the price point on the Summarit, if you don't need anything wider than 2.4, like, it's probably one of the best deals on a 35 Leica branded M lens, honestly. I might upgrade to a 35 Summilux FLE, probably get the V1 that has the same hood style as my Summicron, but for now I think the Cron and the Summarit next to one another is just, it's a great combination when shooting a film and digital in-body side by side. Just really clicks with the way I shoot and the way I run a 35 focal as being my tool of choice. So I think that'll cover it. Any images you saw that caught your eye with the editing style, I do offer my presets for sale. They're in the description if you want to check those out. I also do edit my film scans, so any film shots you saw in there, you know, they are edited. Just keep that in mind. But otherwise, that'll do it. If you have any questions, you know, like I said, hit me up. Follow me on Instagram. Let me know what's going on if you want to DM me, if that's an easier way to contact me. Until then, get outside, shoot your cameras, have fun, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.